Today I'm going to do a jewelry box. I'm planning on painting it with chalk paint in the shade Patina. And this is from Folk Art. And then I will seal that chalk paint in wax. Also from Folk Art, so it's right here. Just a clear wax. In addition to doing the jewelry box, I'm going to use the Das air dry clay again. And I'm actually going to use this bigger mold because this design right here in the middle, I want to apply to the top of the jewelry box. I've already removed the hinges, so I have them all right here. And I've also already sanded this. So the only thing I need to do right now is just get it painted. And then I will be right back. So I have the two pieces of the jewelry box drying right now. So I'm going to move that to the side. And we're going to work on doing the mold with the clay. One thing I remembered from when I was in pottery class is that we often didn't use rolling pins. So I don't know why I was like, yeah, I need to get a rolling pin. I think it would make this easier. We used to do it like this a lot. Hold on, let me get in frame. So we used to do it like this. So this is how we got our clay rolled out if we needed it to be, you know, rolled. So I'm going to take a little piece and roll it. So that we can put it in the mold. If you have a rolling pin and would rather use that so that you can flatten the clay and then roll it out, then I think that would be great. I am learning and remembering that me and tools sometimes just don't work that well together. So I'm going to take this and just pray that this is going to fit well. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it in the video from last week, or not last week, but the video where I was trying to repurpose an old resin piece, but I got it in my head that it would be easier to get the excess clay off the top if I had a metal spatula, and I found my metal spatula. So that was an exciting turn of events, and now I can use it to get the excess off of this. Now what I'm planning on doing is attaching this to this like ASAP. It is already pretty dry, so I'll be able to apply it with no issues. And I'm going to use the Weld Bond glue just like I did in the just like I did with the little resin piece. that I did before, and I can put that video in the description box or in the cards, and that way it is available in case anyone is interested. So I'm gonna let this sit for a tad. I'm really pushing this in there because I want to make sure too that I really put the clay in. I'm gonna press it down. And then I'm going to let this sit for a couple minutes, and then I'll be back to try to get that excess off. Alrighty, so it's been a few minutes. We're going to go ahead and try to get the excess clay off. And yeah, I feel like it's definitely easier with a metal spatula to go across the piece. I'm just gonna get that like much easier. I know it looks like I might be struggling, but I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to dig into the clay like I've done before. And I bet if I had an even better quality metal spatula, this would be like even easier. Okay, gotta go a little more. I'm so scared to mess up the design that I'm not quite going deep enough. I'm gonna go this direction. What I am going to do is let this, I'm actually going to let this sit overnight, but I'm going to put it in this Ziploc bag that I have so that it doesn't completely dry out. But the reason I'm doing that is because I want the jewelry box to also dry very well. And it's so late at night that I need to rest. So, alright guys, it is the next day and we are going to go ahead and get the clay, the decorative piece out of the mold. I think it should be good to go. I've had it sitting out for a good 15 minutes or so. So, oh no, I just broke it. Oh no, I was trying to be so careful and go with the tail first, and that just broke off. Give me a second. I'm gonna use a little bit of water to re-wet that because I think that tail is actually dry, and that might be why it completely came off. So, okay. New plan. I'm re-wetting the whole thing to make sure that if there are any pieces that, or if there are any parts of this that dried out, we can get it a little moist again, and that way I can actually get this out the mold. And something else I want to let you guys know is that, do you see how this has all of these little tiny areas because of, you know, all the extra detail? To get the clay that was kind of coming over, I just used this little tool that I have that has a silicone tip and a little metal tip, and I used the silicone end to go in and just kind of wipe the clay off of the areas that aren't supposed to have clay on them. And it actually worked out really well. It was much more easy than I expected. And the reason that I knew that some of this wasn't supposed to have clay on it is because I would look at one side And like say this side, you could see a full little moon shape, but then I look over here and it was like a halfway covered in clay. So I would just go over there with this tool like this, just kind of push the clay around and then pat it down. But since I've gone ahead and re-wet this, I'm going to first use the tool to kind of using it to rub all the clay together. All right, so while I let this sit, I'm going to go ahead and do the inside of the tray. So this is the bottom piece, and I want to go ahead and use this as the inner part of the bottom. Let's go ahead and try to get this out of the mold. I am trying to be so careful. The design on this is just so intricate that I think that's also what's making getting it out a little bit tougher. Okay, so I'm doing it like this to try to oops, it definitely broke right there. So I know this isn't the best angle, but at this point, I am just trying to get the rest of this out. I'm gonna have to put it together, put it all back together. I'm trying to let it fall out of the mold by itself versus me grabbing it. Okay. Whew. Alrighty, so for the wax, I'm going to use the clear one first. That way, yeah, anyway. So we want to use either a brush or a clean cloth. I'm going to use a brush. Oops, and that way I can just do a thin layer. And so I'm gonna shake it up first. And I'm just gonna use the parchment paper as my little palette. So I'm gonna put some off to the side on top of the parchment. I have a brush. It's a clean brush. Nothing specific. It's just a Royal and Lang nickel number 12. It's probably not made to do wax, but that's what we're using it for. And then it does say that you need to wipe the excess off with a cloth, which we shall do once we're done. So thin layer. I'm gonna need to get more of the wax. I was scared to use too much I promise this cloth is clean. We're just wiping off the excess wax. Look at that. Looks nice, right? Look at that cute little bit of shine. So, bottom piece, we're going to do the same thing as the top, and we're just going to wipe. I am going to put the wax on the bottom of the tray as well. So this is our first check-in. I'm just checking on how the piece is doing. The little leg that we had to put on there is staying together for the most part. The piece is almost dry, but I want to show you guys what I'm going to use to continue, you know, everything, because I'm going to probably speed up the footage. So let me explain it all now. I'm going to be using the white chalk paint from Folk Art, and then once that's done, I'm going to use the antique wax on top, and that's what's going to give us a nice you know, kind of old-ish look. What I may do, I'm still thinking this out, is I may use the clear wax over the whole thing and then use the antique wax on certain parts. Now, I did change my mind about what I would use to adhere this to the tray, and the only reason I did that is because this piece is so delicate that I don't want to try to brush the well bond on the back. So what I'm going to use is a spray adhesive, and I have two. So I'm going to show you the two I have. I have the Elmer's Craft Bond, which is really good. I like it. I've used it before, mostly on things that I stuck on the walls. I also have the Krylon spray adhesive, which I'm going to go ahead and actually use today because I do like how this works. Alright guys, so here's the piece. I accidentally broke that tail off again. So I'm a little disappointed, but I'm thinking that I'll either try to get it back on using maybe the weld bond or break this off so that it kind of matches. Then it'll really look vintage because it'll be like, wow, it's, you know, it's lasted all the ages. But this is how it's looking right now, and I do like it, but I want to add some gold foil. That's the plan for tomorrow. I'm going to leave this for now and let it just kind of sit and do its thing. All right guys, we're back. So this is what our little, hopefully antique looking piece looks like. I am going to do gold foil on it, and I've gotten that leg reattached. That is the leg that fell off. I just took a little bit of well bond and I applied it to help get that whole thing connected. So before I try to attach this to the box, I decided that I want to go ahead and try to do the gold foil on it now. And that way, if you guys hear noises, it's my dogs. We were just outside playing and they are worn out. But I want to go ahead and try to do the gold foil on this before I attach it to the box, and that way I don't accidentally get glue and things on the box itself. Okay, so I've got some leftover gold foil in here from another project, and I think this will be enough to use for this one. And then I have I still don't know the name of this, y'all. I think it's Kivo Gilding Adhesive. I really need to look it up so I can give an actual name for it. But I have the Gilding Adhesive, and I'm going to go ahead and use it. Let me tell y'all, I accidentally learned that I can use this without actually mixing it with water, but it's so thick that in my opinion it's best to use it with water. So that way it also spreads more easily. So I have a brush that's kind of damp, so I'm going to use this to grab some of the glue. And I'm not going to mix it with water. I don't think it's 100% necessary. Plus, I don't want to get the clay too much wetter. So we're going to add glue in some random areas. So pretty much just like I did with the little paperweight I made, which I love. And since this is a small piece, I don't have to wait that long for the glue to be ready to apply the gold foil. It's probably not going to take more than maybe 10 minutes. So here's the tray, and I'm using the varnish that is also from the same brand as the gilding paint, and it also is water-based, so it does say to mix it with water. I'm not going to. I've learned that I don't actually have to completely mix it, but we're gonna use the varnish to help protect this. Paper. Now, if you want resin in the bottom, you can for sure use it. I've just decided that I don't want to. I actually like that. This is so much faster too, because now I don't have to mix up resin. Okay, so with that done, I'm pretty much just going to be waiting for the glue for the gilding paint to turn clear, and then that's when I know it's a good time to go ahead and add the glue, or add the gold foil. And then once that is done, I can go ahead and start trying to get it on top of the little tray. While I wait for that, I'm actually going to go ahead and add some feet to this, because I don't want this to be able to touch things and the bottom get dirty, even though I did put that varnish down. The feet that I'm going to use are the little, I think I'm going to use the little clear feet from, I think, 3M. So these are from 3M, and I like them because they're clear, so they don't look, you know, too out of place. Can you guys see that? Yeah. I'm trying to make sure I'm in frame, but also that I'm not too close to that piece with the glue on it. Okay. Alright, so we've got the feet on. The paper is varnished. So I wouldn't say this is like waterproof, but if you're just using this as a jewelry box or something, it is perfectly fine the way it is. And I'm still thinking about going through and adding glue to the inner edge. What do you guys think? Should I do it? I think I'm going to do it. So I'm going to grab the brush again. The brush is wet now because I had it in that cup of water, but I'm going to try to brush the glue, which I probably should have thought of before I put the varnish down, but it's fine. I can just put another coat of varnish when it's done. All right, so I'll be back in a few minutes and then we will gold foil. Alrighty, so we're looking at a lot of clear glue. So we're gonna go ahead and get the gold foil going. Ooh. So to make sure I get it all in the corners too, I have this little silicone thing. I don't know what to call it. And I'm gonna use that to help me push the gold foil into the corners. Like so. I like that. It's a little funky, but it's cute. Okay, that works. Also gonna go ahead and start laying it on this piece. So I don't want the glue to get too dry and then the gold foil not stick. Again, if you hear my dogs, I'm so sorry. So I'm trying to gently lay this down here. Also not sure where the glue was, so I'm just throwing this around right now. And I'm gonna let that sit while I play with the tray. So I'm literally just going through with the little silicone brush and rubbing the gold foil in. So it's not perfect, but I kind of like it like that. Okay, so this is the little brush that actually came with all the gold foil. I'm going to use it to brush out any excess that I can. Looks nice. I actually really like that. And then I'll go in and put more varnish down. I'm dusting ever so lightly since this piece is so delicate. I don't want to accidentally break it. May have been a little excessive with the glue. Let me bring this down. But I do like how it's turning out in person. It is really pretty. I'm just trying to dust the excess foil off. Alright guys, we are back. So this is what we have. I really, really, really like that. So pretty. It looks like old, but also, you know, shiny, of course. So we are going to go ahead and apply the adhesive to the back of this piece. And I'm shaking it up right now. It is the Krylon spray adhesive. And what I'm going to do is probably... you guys! I was not supposed to do that. I may not have mentioned this, but I did go ahead and get all the excess gold foil, or yeah, gold leaf off of this piece, and I also already varnished it, and then I also varnished the inside here, so it looks really pretty. I can't tell. There it is. I'm like, I can't tell if it's actually spraying. I'm gonna move it because I don't want it to get stuck to that. And then all right, so I just sat it on and kind of moving it around. I'm gonna get a small piece of parchment paper, sit it on top, and then sit like a maybe this bottom on top to just make sure that it's sitting flush. So that'll be it for right now, and I will be back in a few hours. Alright guys, here she is. Oh, I really like this. It's so cute. I love the matte and the chalk paint. I'm getting gold everywhere, but that can be dusted off. But here's what it looks like. We've got our little clay embellishment looking beautiful. I love that. What I may do is use varnish just on this square here, and that way it can be shiny and it will match some of the weld bond that I went ahead and added around the edges. But I sat a piece of parchment paper over this, and then I sat like a book to make sure that it sat flush so it could adhere properly. And then I also brushed some weld bond in any of the crevices, but it is on there. Unless you are trying really hard to take it off, it is, I mean, it's on there really well. And then I do have the feet on the bottom like we talked about earlier. And then when you open her, ta-da, there she is. I actually do like this with the varnish on top versus the resin. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's really simple, but it is cute. And it took days to do, but I'm really happy with how it looks now. If I decide to put the varnish over the top to give it more of a sheen on just this area, I will take like a new video or a new picture of it so that you guys can see what it looks like with the varnish. But as of right now, this is our finished baby, and I love it. So hopefully you guys also enjoyed this whole process and going through everything with me. If you did like it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you want to keep, keep up with what we're doing here, then make sure you subscribe. Thank you guys so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye.